guys, it's February 7th, 2024, and I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, and today's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to get to show you a ton of Valentine stitching, and the great thing is I'm not going to just show you mine. I'm going to show you a lot of Cheryl's current Valentine's projects and then previous. So you will have lots of Valentine inspiration, and I will show you the flash sale. I'll show you lots of new patterns. We do have some new Teresa Kogut patterns. If you're a member of the week's dye works, you'll get to see like a sneak peek of the entire year of the floss you will be getting. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about the next 2 weeks of FlossTubes because we have a lot to look forward to. We have a really special guest next week, and then the week after we have a tutorial. So we have lots of stuff planned for you. Now, I'm going to start off with a brand new It's So Emma Valentine release. It's called Love Many Simply Signs. And so if you're in the Many Simply Signs Club, you would have received this about 2 weeks ago. Now it's available online. The pattern is available as paper or PDF, and there will be 6 in the series of the Many Simply Signs. So this one was stitched by Denise, and you can see that she stitched one stitch at a time, kept her threads together, so there's lots of variegation. And there is a thread pack that's not part of the club. I did want to kind of point out that we really make the pattern big so it's easy for you to see. So this is the Love Many Simply Signs stitched on mushroom 28 count Lugana, which is in stock. The 14 count Ada, that's the equivalent, came in stock and sold out, so we do have more on order. This is finished by Denise on the soft white wooden paddle board, and it's interchangeable with the Priscilla Blaine method. And this is the same board that came with Stackable. So it's the same board that we use for that. So obviously you could just buy one and then use it. You have one for the Stackables, and then you could buy one just for the Simply Signs and switch them out. The stitch count is about 56 by 140, and this is the first one. And I'm going to show you my progress that I made during the Be Mine. So Be Mine is it's our 4th year to host. Oh, I have the pattern showing. It's the 4th year we have hosted the Be Mine Stitch Along, and that is where every day in February I stitch up a Valentine cross stitch progress. And here's my progress. This one I'm going to be doing over 3 sections. So this is section 1, and then I'm going to do 2 and then 3. And I wanted to point out one thing about this is the way that I stitch with the Priscilla's Peppermint. You can see all of the variegation in this floss done by Diane. And I stitch with the loop method, and I stitch in rows or columns. I can't remember which one I did, if I did rows or columns. And so with mine, because I do the loop method, I'm not going to get as much variegation as Denise got. So you can kind of see which you prefer. And I did stitch this on the same fabric as Denise, which is the Lugana 28 count. So you can see you get a totally different look. I don't think it's as, it's really just noticeable in the letters, especially because there is a lot of variegation or color changes in Priscilla's Peppermint. So, and this year for Be Mine, I went over this a couple weeks ago, but I have 15 projects on my list, and I'm going to be showing you week 1 now. And just to point out, this is Priscilla and Chelsea's Housewife Stripe. This is a Chelsea check. They're both aqua. This is a covered button, and we use the tutorial that Priscilla and Chelsea did on our channel on making bows. So that is Love Many Simply Signs. The second project that I'm going to show you today is Monthly Weigh-In February. And so I went ahead and did the small part, which is up here, and that didn't take me very long. This one I am keeping everything in a heartfelt floss box. I was trying to think of the name of it. And then in here I just have I have 4 Wonder Clips just because I'll also be doing the large. So I got that done. And this one is, I'm going to show you the previous one just to compare the fabric, just so you can see it. But this is tea-dyed Monaco 28 count. This is mushroom 28 count. So if you wanted something that is a little bit darker, I was just going to show you, if you wanted to stitch this on here, it would also look good. It would just give you a darker feel. I do think your flowers, this pink would show up a little bit more. And I am using both of these called for thread. I'm not making any changes or anything. I think I might have forgot to say that on the previous. The third thing is the Valentine roundabouts. Priscilla and Chelsea released 5 Valentine roundabouts in January of 2024. And so I'm going to, actually they released 5 with a bonus. So there's actually 6. I'm going to stitch 5 of them. And this is petal pink Rit dyed fabric that Denise did for me using the Priscilla and Chelsea video that they did on our channel. And it's just a 14 count white witchel that Denise stitched. Now this one, I'm probably going to send these to her to frame, or Denise and I have been looking for a circle frame similar to the one that we had used in a previous year. And if we can find a source for that, we're going to use that. So we're kind of waiting to see. And one tip I have for you on this one is, what I did is all of these colors are colors that Priscilla and Chelsea use over and over. Bamboo, ribbon red, black coffee, really tealy, little sprout. These all came from my stash. I didn't have to buy anything. The only thing I had to buy was the pattern and the one big piece of 14 count that we dyed and then cut up. And then I pulled these from my stash. So then what I'll do is, as I'm stitching 2 or 3 or 4, if I run out, I just go to my stash. And the Queen Bee is only used a tiny bit in one of the charts. And I just use the same bag for all of them. And there's the back. I did carry some of the blue over. One thing I think it's a good thing to point out is, a lot of times on white, if I'm stitching on white, I'm not going to carry over this much. But it's pink and you have all this dark stitching, so I just pulled it and then looked from the front, like kind of like with the light, and I couldn't see it, so I just started traveling a little bit more. It's something I probably wouldn't have done a couple years ago, but and Lindsay, I can show you what Denise does at the end of the show. I've done it before, but I can definitely show you at the end. Okay, the next one, this was part of my monthly rotation. So one thing, each year I do monthly things. For some reason, I just love the theme of that. So I showed you January square dance. These are, it's a four-part pattern series by Heart and Hand called Square Dance, and there's 3 in each one. So it goes through the whole year. She also has a Christmas square dance collection, and then a Halloween square dance collection. So I picked this one. It's a couple years old, and I stitched January and February. And I wanted to say 2 things. These are stitched on tea-dyed 28 count Monaco, which is the same thing that is stitched my monthly weigh-in. And these, we're going to be doing a tutorial in March showing you how to FFO these at your own house, so you don't have to frame them or anything else. I use the Square Dance Starter Thread Pack. It's basically called for colors with 1 color change, just because we could not get that thread. And these are pretty small. On the 28 count, they finish 2.5 inches. And one change I made in January is all of the months are in that really dark brown. And I didn't want to do that for January. So January's has the light color. But February's looked really good with the dark. So some months I'll probably leave February like this, but March I'll probably do a green or some other color that's in here. And then if I don't, like if I go ahead and do the dark in March, I could go back and rip out the blue and then change it. So we did get a question after the live stream that I did want to answer. Can we zoom in pretty please? Okay. So on this one, I did 1 strand for the nose and 1 strand for the French knots. The pattern does say to use 2. That's one change I made. And like this little guy here, his little headphones or whatever those are. Earmuffs. What'd you say? Earmuff, ear puff. I don't know what that is. But anyway, whatever that is, I did 1 strand. Someone asked how I did the thread on the back. And I did carry from, so this is like a French knot, French knot, French knot, French knot. So I did carry the thread, and I did carry the thread between the noses. So there's that one. Now in February, I used 2 strands for the back stitch because I thought it looked better. So, you know, I always feel like just do whatever you want to do. If you use 1 strand one time and 2 strands another, feel free to do that. These little buttons are so cute. I think they're just another button company, but they come within your pattern. And so this one I made no changes to at all. January I did do a couple changes. So this is Square Dance. The next one's one of my favorites. I love to stitch font. I don't know why. And this is just how I do my bag, where I just throw stuff in. Usually have a scissor. This one I even have the scissor fob. But I usually have like scissors, clips, and needles. Okay, so this is Hello Valentine. This released, I think, in December by Stitching with the Housewives, and I'm gonna do this one in 3 parts. So I got the center done, so I only have like part 2 and part 3 to do. And this one, what I really would have loved to have done is done all of the white for the entire series, but I was at a basketball game and I just did not trust myself to start traveling. So I went ahead and did all the white, and then the red was easy to do. And then I'll either do the top or the bottom next. And this one is, I'm stitching this on Chalkboard Black by Witchell. And I'm probably gonna keep all of my Valentine stuff on the Chalkboard Black 14 count Witchell because that's what I started with years ago. And I just wanted to all stay matching. I didn't change any colors. And this one's gonna be about 8 by 10. So, and this is the back. This one I didn't travel too much. And you can see sometimes my stuff is neater, sometimes it's messier. A lot of it has to do with what kind of mood I'm in, which I know that sounds really weird, but it's just the truth. And this one is available as paper or PDF. And this one is our free gift to you, so I can show you the pattern. So every year at Fat Quarter Shop, for the last couple of years, since we started doing cross stitch, we give you a free pattern each year. And it's called Made with Love. It was designed by Jocelyn. There's also a free quilt pattern. And it's so cute because it really matches our heart-filled Made with Love bag. And I don't know, it just matches. So this one right here, I just used exactly called for. This is Platinum 14 count cloth by Zweigart. It would also look good on any of those other creams you just saw. The mushroom, because the white would stand out a little bit more, or the tea dyed. Now, there is a question from Carmen about, is the tea dyed fabric you tea dyed, or was that the name of the fabric? So that is just the name of the fabric. It's 28 count Monaco 28 count tea dyed. It comes from the manufacturer like that. The only thing that I've shown today that I actually dyed was Petal Pink Rit dye. So this one just uses 1 pink, 1 red, and 1 white. And we just listed some DMC colors. Now, if I was a customer of Fat Quarter Shop, I would just download this. I wouldn't buy anything. I would figure out for my stash what works. I would just pull from leftover stash a red, a pink, and a white. I wouldn't spend any money. That's what the point of this one is so that you can just do something fun. Just, you know, this would be a great Super Bowl project. You just sit down. It's very easy. You could stitch this all in one setting. It's the stitch count is only 37 by 63. So this one, I'm going to FFO this one, or Denise's, just the same ways we did our sample. So the point of our free patterns is always just to give you something to use up your stash and not to have to buy anything. And there's more, because you know we're already on February 7th. So this one, oh, I got so much done. I feel so good. I'm so accomplished. So yesterday, on yesterday's Stitchy Talk, which I don't know, I didn't love. So you guys got to send me some ideas on how to make Stitchy Talk better. I have no idea. It's awkward. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to do. I don't know if they're good. I need advice. But this is all I got done yesterday because Christopher had a band concert last night. So this is Shelf Life February, and I'm going to be dividing this up into 2 parts. So I will probably, you know, I'll probably outline, get a lot of it done, and then just save a lot of it for fill-in. And this one is published by It's So Emma, which is, this is also a club called Shelf Life. If you sign up now, you would start getting March. And there will be a total of 12. These are stitched on black Monaco 28 count that is now out of stock. Now, we basically worked with Ada and we had a lot printed. And it sold so fast, and we're trying to get more printed. The leftover that we have is being held for the Sayings of the Seasons kits. So that's where that is going. I had bought a big piece up front, and I'm going to use that for all of my Shelf Life. This one, on the back of the pattern, we do give you all of your model finishing information. And we did use, we list the SKUs here. These are both Henry Glass fabrics by Priscilla and Chelsea, and that same thing where we do the covered button with the cute little bow. Catherine asks, for a 28 count, do you use a 28 needle? I just heard you say yesterday when you're stitching with your Monaco that a 28 needle was easiest. Okay, great question. Okay. When I stitch with 28 count Monaco, I always use Bowen 28 needles because you can see that white right there? The holes are very small. The fabric is very stiff. I need something super skinny to go through. So only with 28 Monaco do I use the 28 needle. If I was using 28 count linen, 28 count even weave, I would use a size 26 needle. And with the size 26 needle, I've just basically at this point haven't bought needles in forever. I save them from project to project. And I use a combination of my leftover Pat Carson, my White Croft by Heritage, and Bowen 26. I just use whatever. I haven't bought needles in forever, so I can't even tell you at this point what my favorite is because I'm just using leftovers. And so it's just the Monaco that I use the size 28 with, just because you kind of need that. You need to push your finger in. And I have some kind of white thing here. I don't know what that is. You see it? Who knows what I did? I don't know if that's going to come off. Ooh, I'll have to look at that. Julia, thank you. She said, I loved yesterday's Stitchy Talk. We just sit and stitch and chat. It's perfect. Well, I'm glad you like it because I just thought I did a horrible job. Lindsay's question. Okay, there's a question from Lindsay. Oh, do you want me to? Okay. To show it?
Yeah, show how you separate.
Okay, so this is the thread. Okay, I'm going to show you, this is what I do. And the reason I do this, I've gotten the question before, but I don't care about the variegation at all. Doesn't mean anything to me, I just stitch to stitch because I think it's fun. I don't care about the variegation. I don't care about any of that. So I take one strand, create a loop, thread, and stitch. I either stitch one stitch at a time or in rows. Generally, I do rows, which means half the stitch all the way down, half the stitch all the way up, half the stitch all the way down, half the stitch all the way up. That's just what I do. Now, what Denise does is totally different, and this is what Cheryl does also, and this is the correct, proper etiquette for cross stitch. So you take, and this only is relevant to fancy floss. It's not relevant to DMC or a solid thread like an NPI. So what you're supposed to do is you take one strand out at a time. You take one strand. Keep that strand where you know where the top and the bottom is. Pull a second strand. Keep the top in the right spot. Join the two tops together. And then to keep the variegation, what you do is you start with both strands. You don't do a loop. And if you watch yesterday's, you can see how I did it. Yesterday's Stitchy Talk. But you do have to do 1x at a time, which would drive me absolutely insane to do 1x at a time. It would just go way too slow for me. But look at that beautiful variegation she has there and there. So really, it's really up to whatever you love to do, whatever makes you happy. And I really believe in any type of craft, anything you do in life, do what makes your heart happy. If Denise wants to stitch this way, great. If I want to stitch a different way, great. If I sat here and just did everything because the rule book said you have to do X, Y, Z, I'd go crazy trying to do individual X stitches because I don't have time. And I'm probably watching a basketball game or watching some dance performance, and I'm just trying to, just do a bunch of stuff. So my biggest advice, a lot of people say, oh, I get in a rut or whatever. Do whatever makes you happy. They look totally different. But then if you think about it, who's going to see this? The people in my house who are going to see it are going to be my in-laws, my mom, my brother, my sister-in-law, and maybe one of Emma's mom's friends who comes over. I don't have a lot of company. And, they're always like, oh, that's so nice. The random person coming to your house has no idea what the difference is between this and this. So to me, it doesn't matter. But to you, it might matter. So I would just give you the advice, do what you love, do what you enjoy, do whatever makes you happy so that you can keep stitching. I know in quilting, they call it the quilt police. And I will say that when I first started quilting, this is just like some advice that I have. When I first started quilting, it was 25 years ago. And I took a class, and there were so many rules. They had these rules about you can only use this thread. You can only use this fabric. You can only use this rotary cutter. You can only use this. And I was kind of already starting out. I had like a Walmart machine that was $200. So my machine wasn't great to begin with. But there were so many rules that I just couldn't. I kind of got frustrated. And then I made my quilt. I finished. But then I was like, I didn't know what to do next. And I think I didn't know what to do next because there were so many rules. And they never said why I had to use this thread versus another thread. And so for me, I just got overwhelmed. Then I ended up taking a class from Debbie Taylor, who worked for us for years. And she's a great cross stitcher. You can follow her on Instagram or Facebook. She's just Deborah Taylor. But she didn't have all these rules. And it's so much easier if you don't feel like the quilt police or the cross stitch police is like following you. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to use polyester quilt fabric, do it. Do whatever you want to do. But that's my advice, and that would be like the biggest lesson that I've learned in just crafting in general. And so anyway, that's what I have. Okay, so even though I've been doing Stitchy Talk, I have been keeping up and I got a lot done. Now this one has a lot to it, so I'm gonna first show you what I've done. This is Barn Sweet Barn 2024, which is a PDF pattern. It's one pattern. Oh, I don't have the cover. It's on my couch at home. I left it at home. Because what I did is I took out just the page I needed for basketball and left the other 14 pages on my couch. Okay, so this one I stitched on 14 count fabric flare, which I can tell you fabric flare is on sale 20% off this month. So I am stitching mine one piece. So it's going to be 3 stars by 4. I'm using 2 strands and I'm leaving 4 squares in between. So this is mine. I'm going to show you next Denise's. Denise's is the one that we're using for photos for social media. This is stitched on 25 count cloud Lugana or white Lugana, either one. All of your finishing information is here. Priscilla of the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch came up with the finishing. This is her fabric. The Hobby Lobby number is here. And so this one was stitched by Denise on 25 count, 2 strands over 2 squares. Also, now this one is stitched differently. Mine is stitched as a whole piece. Denise is stitching them individually. So she stitched January and February. Now, Cheryl, and I'm going to show them all together in a second. Cheryl is stitching hers all as one piece, 25 count, 1 strand over 1 square. So we love being able to show you different ways you can take, and we hope that you take this inspiration and use it with any designer's stuff, because you know, you just take it and you do what you love. Cheryl loves stitching tiny stitches, so she gets to stitch something super small. I like stitching on 14 count. I get to stitch something, you know, really different. So I'm going to show you the difference in person. Well, sorry, not in person, together. And then I'll kind of summarize. And this one, just so you know, is interchangeable. So basically you only have to buy this piece once and you can interchange it. That's good right there. Okay, well first I'm going to show this. First I'm going to show these two together. So look at that difference. Now I think Cheryl's is beautiful, but I will say I don't think there's any chance in the world I could stitch 25 count 1 over 1. I think I would scream or curse. And then, okay, so this one, 14 count Ada, 1 piece. Both of these, 25 count white or 25 count cloud Lugana. This is 2 strands over 2. This is 1 strand over 1. All of these we're using the called for DMC that are in the Barn Sweet Barn 2024 DMC thread pack. And on this one, Cheryl is also stitching, leaving 4 strands between, 4 stitches in between. And just look at the difference. That's so cool. So we're excited to show that. The next thing I got done, now this is my temperature gloss from 2023. I never cleaned it up, so it's just a hot mess. And okay, so this is a paid PDF pattern only available at Fat Quarter Shop, and it's a temperature chart. So we, this is January. Now, if you want me to show you a trick on doing this, I can show it to you next month. I didn't know if it was relevant, but basically, the first row is the 1st through the 6th. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Then the next one is 6 more days, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc., etc. I waited until February 1st, and I did a spreadsheet, and I put all the colors of the whole month. And then what I did is stitch. So I would like stitch this and this, and then go over to here, and then go over to here, so that I didn't have to start and stop each day, which is what I had to do last year. So this one is much easier to stitch. And of course I did all the roofs ahead of time just to save myself time later. But you can kind of see right there, that's when we kind of had a little cold front in Austin. So what I did is I do put my stuff here. I put my temperatures, but then you can see every 6 days I put a line, and I just typed it in the spreadsheet, printed the spreadsheet, went from the spreadsheet, and it just made it go super easy. And the only thing I had to buy this year was obviously the fabric, which is 14 count, pale gray gingham, fabric flare, but I just had to buy the 2 browns for the top and the bottom. And the called for fabric is actually cloud 25 count, so you can stitch on whatever you want. I'm using the average temperature, and all the information on how to do that is within your chart. And your all the information is in here. So temperature 2024. Okay, now I'm going to do questions. Kim Miller asks, I recently saw that Lori Holt is selling needles. Could you please tell me which needles of hers to purchase for stitching on 14 or 16 count? 14 count, I would definitely use size 26. 16 count, I would use either 26 or 28, depending. And she does have some new needles that will be coming out in the summer, and they're going to come like packaged by size, right? So we will definitely show those when we have them. We don't have a prototype. What are the odds you will be able to restock 28 count Monaco? I would say 50%. I mean, they printed it for us once, so they have to find a source for it. So we email them. Denise emails them every Monday. I'm sure they love our emails. But once they find a factory that has enough time or room or space, I'm sure that it will get done. It just takes forever. Soul Girl Brooke said, new stitcher here. How do you determine when to use the silk floss like the classic Colorworks Belle Soie? I just love it. Well, obviously it's easy if the pattern just calls for it because you don't have to think. But I think those Belle Soie look great on anything that is just a monochromatic. So something that's just blue and white or red and white. So I always think that's easy. I have all of my Belle Soie in this like Amish bowl that I bought, and it's just for decoration, and I love it. Every time I pass it, every time I go to the restroom, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so pretty. But I love the silk. So I would say, you know, if you're starting with something monochromatic, great, or if you have a called for pattern, or if maybe you have something that just needs 3 colors or 4 colors, just to get used to picking the colors and get used to the colors. Sarah Brewer says, I watched you yesterday. I thought it was fun. I love your stories about life. I feel like you always have something funny happen. Guys, if I told you what was really going on, like all my funny stories, y'all would be like, that girl's got a crazy life. I have always said, if I could write a book, it would be a bestseller. But I have to give all my family secrets and all my crazy stuff. But one thing I will say that's funny is yesterday after I was taking Christopher home from band, and I said, oh, because one of you guys asked, or maybe, my mom asked me yesterday, who were my kids rooting for in the Super Bowl? And I was like, well, text them and ask them. I don't know. Because I don't ever know. So I thought, well, I should ask Christopher. And I said, Christopher, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowls? And he was like, the Niners. And I was like, well, why did you pick them instead of the Chiefs? He's like, I'm so tired of Taylor Swift. If she gets on the screen anymore, I'm just like so over it. Jason Kelce was popular before. Blah. And he had this whole rant. And I was like, you never said Jason Kelce's name last year. Shut up. Anyway, it was funny. Pamela asks, what about stitching on the Mad for Plaid bags for Stitchy Talk? That's a great one. Denise will write that down. I was going to read the rest of it. Sorry, we clicked out of it. We'll find it. Hold on. Let me read the whole thing. Sorry. I'm too slow. Jordan's too fast. Okay. Using one of the patterns on a couple of different bags to show how it would look on other bags, or cute sayings in a nice font. Yes, we can definitely do that. And I do have a little hint that we have some little mini bags coming out, and they're going to be so cute. They're going to be used similar to how you would use the floss boxes, where you just put your scissors, your thread, and it's like a little bag within a bag, and those are going to be so cute to stitch on. Procrastinating says, I got the Kimberly's Color of the Year Celebration Season 2. Will there be enough in the kit for those who do one at a time? Yes, there should be, because that's what I did. How many hours do I stitch in a day? So if I'm busy at work, none. At work. I can usually get in 1 to 2 hours at home, depending on my kid's schedule. Right now it's been kind of busy, so I really have just been doing the weekends. On the weekends, I can usually get 8 hours in a day. There is not a day that I don't work. There is not a day that Kevin doesn't work. This company and our family is our life, and I am just like dedicated. I would love to have a day off, but honestly, I would have no idea what to do with myself. I was at basketball for like 6 hours in Leander. Then I had to drive. We had to get Emma to drive. Anyway, I get there and I'm like watching the game, and I'm cross. And later, Emma's friend and Emma came to the game, and they were like, "What was that you were doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I was working." I work. There's not a week that I don't quilt at least 8 hours a week or stitch 20 hours a week. I work all the time. If I have to take one kid to school, come home, wait, because my kids go to school at much different times because of their grades. If I have 10 minutes, I'm going to stitch. I'm going to do something. You would never come to my house and find me doing nothing unless I'm taking a nap, because I do love a good nap. Like, we don't go to dinner with friends. I just don't. I don't even want to. I know that sounds horrible. I've got a couple of really good friends. But like, I'll go to dinner with them every now and then. I don't need a lot of together time. I don't need a lot of that. I just need a lot of alone time. Okay. Is it true that stitching on stiffer cloth will make your stitches lay flatter? Absolutely. Okay, let me show one, and I'll show you next to another one. The one thing about stitching on stiffer cloth is you will get a callus here, which I permanently have. And if you're using the Monaco, you will get a hole in your finger, which happened to me a couple weeks ago. So this is not a stiff cloth. This is a Lugana. So this is, it's got some drift to it, some movement. I don't know, me and Denise, we're just trying to find a word. This does not. This could stand up on its own. That'll stand up, okay? This will not. So there's a difference. Now, if you look at that, those stitches are absolutely perfect. They're even. It's just perfect. Okay, here. It's not as even, I don't think. I mean, to the naked eye, nobody's gonna know, but definitely think my stitches here are prettier, and I actually have to pull out stitches less on something like this, because when you put it in, it just kind of stays. Here, I feel like because it moves around, you might get some stitches bumpier than others. Okay, so that is so exciting. Thank you for letting me share all of my stuff. Now I get to share all of Cheryl's stuff, which I know you guys are going to love. Some of this you've seen before, some of it is brand new. So I'll try to differentiate between that as I go. So the first thing is Winter Quaker by Primrose Cottage. This is a stitched finish. So this pattern came out at the end of 2023. Cheryl stitched this on 36 count linen from her stash. She used 1 strand of floss over 2 squares. The color of floss she used is Distressed Denim by Gentle Arts. And just to show you, she just stitches in one corner. When she's done stitching, she will cut it off at that point so that she can save as much fabric as possible. And she leaves it big just like that, which I could never do. And just to point out, she was able to change the number of the year, which I'm sure is not in the chart. She just did that because the chart has 2023. But I think it's pretty easy to do that. Do you want to zoom in on her stitches so you can see the 1 strand? So you can kind of tell it's 1 strand. And then Heartstring Samplery, Stitcher's Resolution. This is stitched also 1 strand, but over 1 square on 28 count Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim. She's using the Called For Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. This was a New Year's Day start for Cheryl. And so what she's going to do is the first of every month through 2024, stitch that whole day using that. And then when she's done, she's done. And this piece is this is a little bit bigger piece of cloth. So it says, when in doubt, always buy more linen and thread. 2. Oh, number 1, when in doubt, always buy more linen and thread. 2, stitch all day and absolutely no housework allowed. 3, always start a new project before the last one is finished, requiring a return to number 1. When in doubt, always buy more linen and thread. And then it has the year. So this came out in 2014. So obviously it'd be easy to change that to 2024. And then you could put your initials here. This one we've shown before, I think. We're not sure. I have a really bad memory, guys. Okay, zoom out just a tiny, tiny bit. Sorry, thanks. Okay, this is Love is the Key by Teresa Kogut. And this one I think came out last market, 1 or 2 markets ago. And I remember because it's not, it's a digital photo, and that's how I remember. This is stitched 1 strand over 2 squares on 36 count Affogato linen by Fiber on a Whim. She's using Called For Floss, which is the combination of DMC, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks Dye Works. So Teresa Kogut, sometimes she does do a lot of mixing of the different brands. And so far, Cheryl has not changed any colors. Now, that doesn't mean she won't. Valentine Day Quaker is also in my rotation for Be Mine, so you'll get to see what I'm doing soon. This is a newer pattern by Primrose Cottage. She used 2 strands over 2 squares on 32 count Blush Lugana by Zweigart, and it's not really showing on the screen as well, but it is very pink. And she is using Cherry Tomato. So she's using Cherry Tomato. The color that's called for is Ripe Melon, but it has sold out. And I have been ordering it a million times, but it just keeps selling out. So this is 32 count Blush Lugana, Cherry Tomato Classic Colorworks. And Cheryl does the method where she does 1 X at a time. So you can really see the variegation, like over here and over here. You can really see the variegation, and I'll show you the back. Valentine's Signs by Tiny Modernist is a pattern that came out a little bit ago. This is a brand new start. Cheryl stitched 2 strands over 2 squares on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha linen called for a DMC, and this is the fabric that is flat on one side and modeled on the other. And this is the one she's doing right now. I'm not sure if she's going to do all of them. It'll probably just depend on what she feels like. And the same thing, she puts it in the corner of the big piece. Be Love is a brand new pattern that came out in January of 2024 from Priscilla and Chelsea, and it's one of the Sassy Strippers, and so she almost has it done. It's so cute. Now this one she stitched on a pink linen from her stash. She's using 2 strands over 2 squares. This is a 32 count from her stash, using called for classic colorworks, except she's using DMC Blanc rather than bamboo, and she is leaving the words be and love out. And a lot of times you'll see Cheryl uses a different white, and that's just because it's in her stash. She already has it. I don't know if you guys know, but we do, I can show it next week, we do now carry a spool of DMC white and a spool of DMC black of the 6 strand. And so I don't know if Cheryl has one of those, but you know, sometimes you just use your stash. And I don't know that the DMC spools are brand new from our distributor that we buy from. And so we're not sure if they're going to add more colors or if they're just going to stick with those 2. And I don't know how they're going to sell. So we'll have to see, because I have no idea. Bird in the Hand Valentine's Day by Heart in a Hand is a new start. This is an older pattern by Heart in Hand. You can also see she stitched in that top left. This is 2 strands over 2 squares on 32 count light taupe Lugana, called for classic colorworks and weave style works. But again, she is substituting the Blanc, which is gonna be right here. It's not stitched yet. She's gonna use DMC Blanc instead of 12 grain. But again, it's probably just something from her stash. So when you're buying a pattern and it just has a tiny bit of something, there's no reason for Cheryl to go and buy a skein of grain. Or maybe she thinks Blanc will look better. But just don't feel like you have to buy. I feel like with crafts, people feel like, okay, I have to make it exactly. You don't have to. Okay, so those are Valentine's and new whips. Okay, this next one you guys are gonna love. This one is a pattern series. Let's talk about it. It's called Little House Needleworks Months of the Year. This was released about 10 years ago as individual patterns with the bell swat included. Those are long gone, discontinued. But I have one of each at home because I've always wanted to make it. I love bell swat. But since then, Diane has discontinued the individual patterns with Floss and re-released as one single pattern. And so Cheryl is going to make all of these. So she started with February. And this is a Mill Hill frame. They come in a size of 6 inches square, and they come in lots of colors. And we have them on order. They are kind of one of those things that we get what we get. And you know, we could order 10, we might get 4. We just see what we can get. There's like white, chocolate. This one's chocolate. There's black, there's red, there's blue. So what Cheryl's going to do is she's going to use this pattern. She's going to use the same fabric throughout, and she's going to individually switch out each of these. So she only had to buy one chocolate frame. And what she did is there's just a little nail here, and you pull it out. There's a cardboard piece, and then she has it finished under there. And she's going to switch it out each month and not have to buy 12 frames and not have to take it to the framer 12 times. So she got the chocolate 6x6 Mill Hill. This fabric is 32 count linen vintage country mocha on the modeled side, using called for threads, and she's stitching 2 squares over 2, and she framed it herself. And it's a really nice frame. I think it's really nice. Okay, this one, these are all fully finished items. So some of these you've seen stitched before. This is February Quaker, and I think she's done all 12. I think she's just now framing them. She stitched all of the Quaker series from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. All of them are stitched on 36 count cream and sugar and 1 strand over 2 squares. This is now framed. And this is just a frame from, it's a custom frame that she's going to switch out. So what she did, you can see she went to Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that. It has her last name on it. It's a custom frame with a piece of glass, but she's going to switch it out each month. So she only had to buy the frame one time, and then you can see these she'll just flip up. This is framed by herself, and this is just painter's tape. So that's February. This one I love. I've stitched this one. This one's up at my house. This is the 2020 Collector's Heart, which is still available. And in this kit, there's actually 2 fabrics. One is for this piece, and this red piece right here is for this heart pillow. And it does have the buttons. They're right like here. So this one, she used called for fabric, meaning the fabric and the pattern. She used called for floss. And this is a frame from Family Tree Frame Company. And I don't know if they're still making them. We sold them at one time, but I don't know if they're still making them. So she had this frame and is using that. And then this one she had fully framed. So she's not going to switch this one out. This is Love Whirligig by Heart and Hand. This is also 32 count vintage country mocha with called for threads, 2 strands over 2. And then this is just a frame from Hobby Lobby. So it will sit up. And usually these frames, I will tell you a little hint about the frames at Hobby Lobby. They're kind of in weird spots. So not all of the small frames are together. You'll find them scattered throughout the store, and I've kind of found that before when I'm looking for something real inexpensive. You might have to search. It's not going to just be in the frame section. And this is Love Whirly Girl by Whirligig by Heart and Hand. Love is Patient, Love is Kind by Artful Offerings. This one is custom framed. And usually she gets them done at the Hobby Lobby near her house. She has really good results with the Hobby Lobby near her house. This one does not have glass on it. So sometimes Cheryl has glass, sometimes she doesn't. This is stitched on 32 count light powder pink splash. So it's white with pink dots. The fabric has pink dots. There you can see it. Like you can really see it over here. So 32 count. And I think the frame really looks good with the floss. And then this one I've been waiting to show you. This was a Christmas gift. So Cheryl, for years, I've known her for, how old is Emma? 16. She's known her almost 17 years. So she always makes me a gift. So I have, what do you call those? Prairie schoolers. I've got all kinds of ornaments. And this year, this is what she made me. So this is Wee Santa 2023. She stitched fabric. The fabric is just from her stash. Used called for colors, and she said she made it for me because she thought the Christmas pinwheels looked good. So I'm so excited, and I'm so thankful that she made this, and I'm gonna put it in my cross stitch with all of my Christmas, and I'll probably put it on an easel to display. And it was custom framed. Okay. So I wanted to kind of give you a hint of what's coming up this month on FlossTube. So next month we're going to have special guest, Tiny Modernist, Cheryl is going to come on, and she's going to talk about, so Cheryl from Tiny Modernist is going to come on and be a guest, and she's going to talk about new patterns and also old patterns, and we'll have her talk about her history, anything you want to know about her company, her design process. I'd encourage you to, after the video is posted, put your question for her so that when we're answering, we kind of make sure we cover that. So that's next Tuesday. And then the week after. What'd I say?
Tuesday.
Oh, I don't know what I said, but okay. Jordan's telling me I said next Tuesday. I meant next Wednesday. I'm sorry. Then the Wednesday after, we're going to show this. Okay. So if you noticed, the Hometown Neighborhood has this really cute bar at the bottom, and it's going to have it on each of them. So this is the first one you saw. Here is a hint to the second quarter. That's all I'm going to show you for that long. So me and Denise searched and searched and searched and searched and searched and searched and searched. And I can't tell you, like, we probably spent 40 hours trying to find a spool that would fit this. And that's not a joke. That's real deal. Like, it involved, yes, a lot of time finding a spool. So because I really thought just stitching the bottom of each of them and then having a total of 12 spools with this coming off would be so cute. So we found spools. They come in sets of 6. So you can get it with the green thread. Oh, sorry. Or the red thread, and you buy them as a set of 6 because that's how they were sold to us. Now, in 2 Wednesdays from now, we're going to show you how to turn this with a stitched piece with this. Now, I can tell you the size of this fabric is size 25 count. We are testing some different interfacing. We think this one's a little stiff. And but we are going to do a tutorial, and we're going to show you how you take the thread off. I mean, you could leave the thread on. It was just what was available, but basically Denise said she just took some scissors and went psh, and cut it off. And then, so in 2 weeks, we're going to have a tutorial, and then this will make it where you can do just the bottom of the chart if you want to. And of course, you could do any designer's something that's got a banner. It doesn't have to be this pattern, but just a fun way to do a tutorial. And they come in boxes of 6. And just so you know, I wouldn't care what color because I would just take it off anyway. So that's something to look forward to. And Denise, all the credit on that goes to Denise. She came up with all of that. So each year we try to give you a tease of clubs. And the way that our floss clubs work is we work with the manufacturers and we order in like October or November of the end of the previous year. And that manufacturer will say, you can sell up to X amount of spots. And each year they let us increase by, you know, maybe 50, 100, you know, something like that. So we now have spots open for our Weeks Dye Works Floss Frenzy Club, whereas 6 months ago we did not have any openings. So basically the first couple of years we did this club, we did it by color. And then we kind of ran out of colors. So we have started this where we're doing it alphabetically. So you've got like C's, D's, E's, and then this is what you would get each month. Each month you get 6 5-yard skeins of floss from Weeks Dye Works. If you sign up for the club today, you will start with February. I can tell you this club will sell out. What happens is, like I said, we open it up at the beginning of the year for the numbers that they let us, and then it sells out, and then people really don't leave this club. So I'm getting to show you all year, and if you are in the club, your January membership shipped out Friday, January 26th. Our flash sale today is Counting on Love, which is great because it kind of goes along with our Be Mine series. It says, I shall love you for rich or poor, a perfect mix, true soulmates forever, amen. And then it has their initials, Diane and her husband that got married on August 6th, 2022. Every month we have a cross stitch special of the month. It might be a pattern, it might be floss, it might be fabric, it might be anything. This month we have Fabric Flare, 20% off. So in the month of February 2024, you can buy any of the Fabric Flare that is in stock, 20% off for that month. And we usually do this only once a year. And then now I get to show you what's new, what has come in the store. So Friday, the Spring House is the Sassy Stripper series that came out on Friday. And so there will be 4 of these. And then Spring Soiree came out this morning. Sorry, I can't say Spring Soiree. I don't know. How? Soiree. I don't know. That little A is not coming out. So this is a spring roundabout, and it has 2 chocolate bunnies, which I think is really cute. These are by Stitching with Housewives. And we have some new patterns by Teresa Kogut. Now, Teresa Kogut, in addition to this, has patterns coming out at market. So there's 4 coming out now, but she will have more in March. This is Common Looking. Foxes Have Dens. A Clean Heart. And 1810 Folk Art. Cottage Garden Samplings Greenhouse is the 3rd in the series, and there is a club for this. It's the Fabulous House series. That club has been so successful. This is the 3rd in the series. If you're in that club, it was already shipped to you. And then a Symphony of Friendship sampler. And then she will have new patterns that are coming out at Needlework Market, which, like I said, is around March 5th, March 7th. We do have information I'm going to talk about with that in a second. Tiny Modernist, which is Cheryl, and she's going to show us, talk about these next week. There's Valentine Terranium, and she's got a couple of Terranium pieces. The Tarot for Stitchers is going to be an 11-part series. This is part 1, so part 1 is right here, and the border. And then Make Today Magical is a 7-part series. This is now part 7, and we'll put together a set of all 7. Shannon Christine has a couple new patterns. Hello Winter. Warm My Heart. And Evergreen Forest. And hers are in booklet form in black and white. And then Blackbird has one re-release. It's called Winter Wonderland, and it has 2 charts. So it was originally released in 2010. One thing that we're going to add to our store is ways to display your cross stitch, ways to display your quilts. We're always referring you to Hobby Lobby or somewhere else, and we get a lot of people that say, I don't want to shop at Hobby Lobby, or I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me. Can you do it? So we're providing some things. Now, obviously, the trick with this, or the hurdle with this, is it's going to be more expensive because I'm not Hobby Lobby and I'm not making the product. I'm having to buy it from someone else. So that is going to be the disadvantage, is that it's going to cost more than if you had gone to Hobby Lobby. But I'm just going to show you some new home deck things that we got. This is a heart bowl, and we put our stitch card set, I think it's S, in here. So this is a heart bowl. We got a set of 3 stars, which are so cute. So basically you can't buy them individually, you buy them as a set. And then we also have these crosses for sale as a set of 6 in both white and gray. And we thought it looked good on the star. But this would be Really cool to do a finished cross stitch on. And then you'd probably have to put it on a stand or something. Also, to go with those, we did some clay, they're not clay, ceramic bowls, and they come in white and gray. And the gray one's just a little bit bigger, just so you know. And then we thought this was really cute, and it's a great price point. It is just a clipboard, and you could do a finished cross stitch piece. And kind of what I was thinking is some of the Pine Mountain designs, she has a lot of rectangular designs that are 5x7 or so, and I think those would go really good on here, and it's a really good price point. And you would just search our What's New page and just type home deck or go to our home deck page. This is a pedestal, and it's just a simple pedestal that I thought would be cute to put a finished cross stitch on top of, just to kind of raise it up. That comes individually, and then this is a paddle set that comes as a set of 3, which I thought would be really cute because they're different. Can you do the front? They're different. I'm not sure if it's, yeah. They're different heights and different shapes. So you've got circle, square, circle, rectangle, square, different sizes, different heights, and even a little bit different colors. And then, like for example, you could put something that's a flat fold on top of it, or you could even put a little easel on it, but you could put 3 cross stitches. And the next thing I think we're almost sold out of. This we found on our search. This we found on our search for those other spools. Now, this is a set of 3. These scissors are not for real. They're for fake, which means they're junk. They're for decoration, but they're really cute. So it comes in a set of 3. It's red, aqua, and then a dark brown, and it has twine on it, and it's just strictly decoration. But I thought, how cute is this in a sewing room? And if you don't like it to be so vintagey, you could always repaint it, but it's definitely just a vintage decor. But I thought it'd be really cute for my cross stitchers and quilters. Okay, we had a request. We have a product request form, and so I look at that every day. Sometimes I order the thing, sometimes I don't. It kind of depends. I mean, I try to order it if I can. Sometimes it's something I just don't think we can sell, so I don't order it. So don't be offended if I don't. So we got this in stock, and then once we got it in stock, they wanted the second size. So there's 2 different sizes of these. 2 inches is this one, and 4 inches. Now, when I saw these, I thought they were something totally different. So I'm going to show you as best I can what these are for. And these are kind of hard for us to get. So we order, this is another type of product. We can order 40. We might get 4. We might get 40. This is kind of one of those, they ship what they ship, and I'll just keep reordering, but I can't promise you it will always be in stock, just at FYI. So I thought, I didn't know what it was, but somebody asked us to carry it, so I did. So I thought it was like a real deal, like stand that you could get like at Hobby Lobby, but it's not. What it is so that you can put this in between. This is a flat fold that we have a video on. But for example, if we wanted to just do a sticky board on the front, a sticky board in the back, stick it in between, glue it in, then your piece will stand up. So obviously the 2-inch would be used for a smaller piece. The 4-inch would be used on a bigger piece. We just got this in the last month, so we might do a finishing on this. Oh, we are doing a finishing. We're gonna try to. I don't wanna promise because we gotta try it to make sure it works, but that's gonna be in March if it works. I just wanna make sure I like to preface with, if it doesn't work, we're not gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna answer a couple questions. Or actually, I'm gonna answer all the questions. There's only a couple. Lorraine Smith, I love the floss bitties, but I need a better way to store them. Do you know how many will fit in the acrylic storage box? I would think about 8 would probably fit in each slot. Ruth Amdan, sorry, I cannot speak. Ruth Amdahl said, I was recently gifted DMC floss that has been wound on bobbins. Can I straighten it to get rid of the kinks? The kinks will just come out naturally. I keep a lot of my floss on floss biddies, which does create that crease, and I never notice it. Angela Baker, on the hometown pattern, is Lori doing a stitch along? Yes, she is, and she's going to do that. She's going to announce everything on her FlossTube. She's just been really busy designing fabric, and so she hasn't had time to do a video, but yes, she's going to do one. Odelia has a great question. Could I do a stitchy talk with Cheryl and Denise? I would love to put a face with the cross stitch pieces. I could ask Cheryl. I think she'll say no, but I can 100% tell you Denise will not come on camera. Denise, right? There's no chance. If you go to, if you see her in person, she'll definitely talk to you, but she's definitely not coming on camera. That's just not her personality. So what I wanted to mention to you is Denise, Cheryl, me, Brittany, Jordan, we're all working on Nashville Needlework Market right now. So Nashville Needlework Market is a wholesale show that shops can go to buy products. And what happens is, starting about right now, last week or so, each cross-stitch designer emails out to all the stores what you can pick up that weekend. So as we order, we are putting them on our coming soon page. There will be a link that Ashley's going to put right now to where that page is. There is also going to be a link in the final video that when it posts at the top, you can click and you'll see what we have decided to buy. And you can click to be notified when it comes in. We do use that. So we do use that to base our buying on. So if we get a lot of requests for something that maybe we didn't buy enough of, we will increase or decrease our orders based on that. So it is something we use. So you can start looking for that. I did want to let you know, for today's giveaway, we're going to give away one Love Mini sign and one thread pack to 3 winners. You have until Tuesday, February 13th to enter. Ashley will pick winners and announce them Wednesday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. Oh, so we're going to have a Valentine's Day FlossTube. So on that, I would say, which designer are you most looking forward to Fat Quarter Shop carrying for Needlework Market? I'd love to see what you have to say. And of course, like I said, if you have any ideas for Stitchy Talk, put them in the comment box. I do read all the comments, and thank you so much for sharing today with me. I'm honored that you guys watch and are interested, and we always take suggestions. I hope all of you have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday.